advice to recommend. There are ways to do it. There are ways to talk to somebody.
Some of the opinion that they've tried that attempt of trying to speak, but it seems to be falling on deaf ears, and that the president is surrounded by people who will shut down anyone who is along that line of thought.
So you see,
the most recent is the General T.Y. Danjuma, where he basically came out. A lot of people have the opinion that maybe he tried to, and then it didn't work, and then he just went public.
Yes.
Same thing with General Olusegun Obasanjo. We've had instances of these people who just come out publicly and declare. Do you think the president is not willing to listen, or that the truth just doesn't get to him?
I think so. I could say he's surrounding himself with people who shut out some of the truth he's supposed to hear, but the buck stops at his table. That's us making excuses for him. He doesn't want to listen. It's as simple as that. He doesn't want to listen. If somebody as highly placed as Obasanjo, T.Y. Danjuma, and the rest of them are trying to actually, I think they have direct access to him. He's the president, but then they have direct access to him to some level. I don't think they would have talked to him and then he listened and then he came public. He probably didn't listen, so he doesn't want to hear truth.
Let's touch on another instance of the president not listening. This time, Senate President Bukola Saraki said yesterday that President Muhammadu Buhari did not consult with the leadership of the National Assembly before executive approval to release $1 billion to purchase arms to fight insecurity. This is another clear example of disconnect. I'm very scared as to the amount, because $1 billion, what are we fighting exactly?
You know what's
Do we even know who we're fighting?
You know what's funny? I was on Rubbin Minds when we talked about $1 billion and Good Luck Jonathan.
Yeah, the same. It's literally the same script.
It's
before
sad.
The elections.
It's sad because it seems like we're just taking out one bad person and putting in another bad person. Somebody who's doing the same thing. $1 billion for what? Okay, fine. Let's assume you want to fortify the military. The military is a very important arm of the country. Let's massive respect for them. But let's say you actually want to spend that $1 billion on them. Are you going to be accountable? Are you going to be responsible enough to break down every single thing that huge amount of money is for? There's so many sectors of the Nigerian economy that is suffering, that needs injection of funds. But I mean, so many things that could be done.
Sorry to cut you short, but some would say that we've pointed a lot of fingers at the presidency. We've told them to take action, to do something about insecurity. And the first major step he makes, it's faced with criticism. Is it that Nigerians don't know what they want?
It's not criticism. It's people telling the presidency to do things rightly. Do things rightly. If you're supposed to consult the Senate before you get budget that kind of amount of money for security, I think the Senate should know. The Senate should sit on it and then say,
why do you think the Senate was circumvented?
For political reasons. But then let it be that he tried.
Okay. Looking at this pattern, I'm not a military expert, and I wish we had one, but we need to, first of all, identify the enemy. And there seems to be a very blurry line as to who the enemy is, whether it's the kidnappings, whether it's the fact that we have, I don't know, they say Fulani, but not Fulani, the tradesmen. We have people coming in over the border who some claim are not Nigerians, but are killing Nigerians and killing cattle and causing havoc. There seems to be no clear identification of the enemies. At least let us point at something or someone that we can kill. So I'm trying to marry the two as to, is this just another tactic to get money out?
That's some of the things we're talking about, yeah? Well, I'm not a military man as well, but I feel like intelligence is everything. If you can fortify your intelligence units, ensure that the Directorate of Intelligence has identified the people we're targeting, what those funds are supposed to be spent on. Is it intelligence? Is it to infiltrate the enemy camp? Is it to make our border stronger? Is it to buy weapons? Is it to
and I think that's
pay
actually where
military men well? There's so many things you could do with these funds, but then you have to identify where these funds should go to. If they've not done that, that's in the next 4 years, another president to come up and say $2 billion, let's spend $2 billion on.
I'm even asking what happened to all the equipment that was bought before. I mean, we had a lot of, we had a can of worms opened up where we found out that a lot of the money that was meant to be diverted to this was spent. That is another story for another day. But the point is, these equipments, inventory-wise, we don't actually see these things. We just hear the big money being signed off, and that's the last we hear of it.
That is where accountability comes in. That is where not treating us like fools comes in. We're not stupid. We want $1 billion. Fine. What do you want it for? List it out. Let's see for ourselves. This is tax money. This is oil money. This is our collective wealth. So if you're going to do it, be responsible enough to be accountable. List everything out. That's just what I want. I don't care about the politics, about the now, the timing and all that. I don't want to care about that. I want to believe he has good intentions. I want to believe he has good intentions. But then he needs to take it a step further to say, this is what this money is for. Don't tell us we're fighting insurgents. We're trying to, $1 million is for, $8 million is for, and all that. List it out.
But, I mean, I'm trying to marry this because we're living on less than $1. We have, I think, equally important things that we wish money could be dispersed with such speed. When it comes to the issue of power, insecurity, that's another major one. Education. The second richest man in the world said we should invest more in people when he visited Nigeria, talking about Bill Gates, that the people are the resource. And then you have $1 billion set aside to buy arms and equipment that does not necessarily translate to any growth. Where do you think this blame should lie, or should I say where the buck stops? Where should we point the finger?
It in the end is in the responsibility of those leading us. It's as simple as that. Now there's a case for security. I mean, you have to be secured first before you can learn. I don't want to play politics with that. Security is important, but in the end, if you're not channeling resources rightly, if you create a system of distrust, then people will not believe in what it is you're doing. So I believe the buck stops at the table of those leading us, starting from the president, starting from that man. Yeah. Okay.
Talking about accountability, for some reason, these stories just seem to just die away. The issue of the monies that were seized in the Ikoyi house. We have the monies from the whistleblower scheme. We seem not to know where these monies are going. Or could this $1 billion be from there? I don't know. Well, what's your take on that?
We don't know. It's as simple as that. We don't know. Whatever has happened to it, we really don't know. We just hope someday somebody would open this can of worms and then identify all the places our monies went to.
Okay, we'll be back after the break. It's still Rubbin Minds right here this Sunday. Stick around and some more interesting stories. This time taking the table to the APC and finding their roadmap for the year ahead.